Hey, what is up everybody? It's TJ here, and today I want to talk about my first short film, MISM, and what it's about, and just a little bit of a backstory of how it came to be. Sound rolling?
Camera speeding.
Scene 2, take B.
So if you didn't know or you haven't checked it out, I just released a short film. I really wanted to express some gratitude towards everybody who kind of overwhelmingly watched it and sent me messages, and say that I appreciate everybody for doing that and also being a part of my first short film. And it's kind of crazy that it's my first film, and I've been doing films and making videos for a long time. But this film would not have been possible without all the people who were involved. So I definitely want to shout out a few people. Joshua Macklin, he has a YouTube, and I'll link him down below. He is a great photographer, an amazing person. He's super encouraging. He's like the best hype person that anybody could have. And I really appreciate him for just tagging along with me on this journey, because this was not something that neither of us have done before. And then I just want to thank everybody who was a part of the crew. There's a ton of people who gave up 2 days to hang out with me, gave up their evenings to be a part of the crew and be a part of the set. And I just want to thank you for entrusting me with your time, and also just thank you for just being a part of something that was very special and very important to me. So with that being said, I couldn't have done any of this without these people, and I really appreciate you. The film MISM is about a guy who just has a lot coming at him at once, and a lot of these situational things just happen to him around the same time, and it becomes overwhelming to the point where he wants to take his own life. He's actually developing a code that can change his life, but also could change the life of others. And he's at a point where he doesn't want to take a risk with that, even though people around him are telling him that he is capable of doing it. But all he hears is people that are challenging him to be a different person than who he is. He's a very introverted person, someone who is not outspoken and doesn't really stand up for himself. And that's basically what gets him into the predicament that he is in. But in the end, he has to decide whether to fight for his life or continue to be a victim. So a lot of this film was inspired by just myself, just things that I've experienced in my life. I have definitely gravitated towards the darker side of life, and this was one of the subjects that I really wanted to talk about. Suicide is a very dark subject, but I feel like it's not talked about in the right context a lot. A lot of people just want to shy away from it because it's such a difficult conversation to have. But a lot of people are dealing with suicidal thoughts, and a lot of people are dealing with depression. And I just wanted to make sure that I kind of made a film that highlighted that there's an opportunity there for you to live and to pursue a great life, even though you do have these thoughts and do have or experience depression. A lot of the ideas for this film was pulled from different films, but I really leaned on this one film, 7 Pounds, with Will Smith, that has a suicide scene in it. The emotion of that film really was what inspired a lot of this film as well. But I definitely pulled a lot of information from different places to help me tell the story that I wanted to tell. So why did I want to make this film? And it's, like I said, it's my first short film, and I've been doing videos for a long time. I have always gravitated towards films and movies, and I love watching movies. I love just like dissecting movies, and I've been doing that for such a long time. And I remember me and my friend Josh, we were actually watching a short film, and I was like, man, like I feel like I can do that. It really just sparked me to just go ahead and just like, hey, this year I'm gonna make a short film. And what I decided to do was take some of the extra money that I have and decide on a budget of how much money I wanted to put towards purchasing gear and things that I wanted to use. Decided to sell gear that I had just laying around the house, things that I wasn't using, and basically wanted to make a cinema rig for myself and just expand into the video world fully. I felt like I never really had a lot of just video gear, or really decided to to take my path towards video like I should. So a lot of people wanted to know what gear I used to shoot this film, and I decided to buy the Fujifilm X-T3 over a year ago, and that was my main camera for this shoot. Actually, I used that camera for the entire shoot, which kind of made it difficult because I only had one camera. We only had one Fujifilm X-T3. So we had to shoot a lot of the dialogue scenes multiple times over and over again so that we made sure we got the shot. So I used the Fujifilm X-T3, and I also used Rokinon lenses. These are Rokinon cinema lenses that I bought. My rig setup, which a lot of it is being used right now, but I did use my rig setup, follow focus, and my shoulder rig here. We also rented some gear from borrowed lenses that allowed us to put this on a easy rig, just be able to hold this thing for a long period of time. That was very useful in a lot of situations. But a couple of things did go wrong throughout the shoot, and one of which is the Fujifilm. The HDMI output actually stopped working the night before when I was testing a lot of my electronics, trying to make sure things were powered correctly, and they weren't. I ended up with a short in my HDMI port, and we had to decide whether to use the Fujifilm X-T3 or use what we had, which was like a Canon 70D, which would have gave us the opportunity to use the monitor. But I decided to go with the better quality 4K and the 10-bit. I felt like that was more important. And then we just had to really spend some more time looking at a small little screen to make sure that we had the framing correctly. Another challenge that we had was just that it is our first film. I mean, it was the first time I've ever tried to do a film. So things like writing a script, things like organizing the shots, and making sure that we had meetings with the crew, finding the crew. That was a hard part too, just finding people that were reliable. I had one guy who was supposed to be in my short film, and he just wasn't reliable enough for me. So we decided to go a different route, and luckily we ended up with other options that helped us out a lot. A lot of these people were non-actors. Some of them had some experience in theater or some experience in plays, but this was everyone's pretty much first time being in a short film. And that was challenging for me because of just all the logistics that go along with having multiple locations and having multiple actors, multiple days in that shoot, where people had to change clothes, people had to be in different environments. It was a very complicated shoot, and going back, I probably would have simplified the shoot a little bit more, simplified the film a little bit more to help me out there. But I'm glad I did what we did. We did it in 2 days. So we had day one was an evening day where we shot we probably started around like 4 p.m. and shot all the way to about 10 p.m. and then, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And then we broke up into the next day where we shot pretty much all day that day. Went out, met everybody out at the location, and we started shooting. It was a great experience, but it was challenging trying to get everyone to be where I needed them to be, and also to just logistically wrap my head around everything. This film had a lot of dialogue in it, and honestly, I would have taken out a lot of that dialogue if I could have, because it was my first time writing dialogue for screen. And then also, it was a lot of situational things that I wanted to do. I allowed a lot of playroom for my actors to just go in and just kind of say what they wanted to say. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Problem is that I needed to be a little bit more present on the day of. And since I was doing a lot of things on my own, setting up lighting, running audio, running camera, since I was doing a lot of those things on my own and not just directing, I didn't have a lot of time to pay attention to everything that was going on set as far as what the actors were doing and how they were delivering. I had a little bit of time, but not as much as I wanted to devote to it. I could have helped them a lot along with those dialogue scenes and just made sure that the energy came off the way that I wanted it to. But since I was, doing and wearing a lot of hats, it was pretty difficult to do that. All right, so what went well and what did not go well? So there was a lot of things that went bad with this film. The dialogue was good. I think my actors' performances were pretty good. I think just the dialogue didn't deliver exactly what I wanted it to deliver. I would have loved to have some more professional help in that area. But now that I know the importance of dialogue, I will definitely be putting some more attention to that. Another thing that went bad was I didn't really have enough of my cut shots. So I pretty much filmed a lot of the meat of the project, but I didn't film a lot of B-roll and things to fill in those moments, things to go in between those scenes that could have really drawn this film out to be more, I guess, just to give you a better view of the world that my characters were living in. And I wish I would have did that, but I decided to just go ahead and create what we had. We actually had reshoots scheduled multiple times, but since one, my camera crapped out and I wanted to have that back. I actually sent it to Fujifilm to get it fixed, and I wanted to have that back before the shoot started. So what I did was I had to wait until my camera got back, and then COVID happened, and it just didn't seem like the right time to get everybody back together and do all this filming and stuff. So what I decided to do was just like, hey, let's just make a film with what we have, and this is what we came out with. And then we also released it on a great day, which was Mental Health Awareness Day, which was something that I actually did not know before I released it. I released it on that day just because I was like, I don't like waiting to release things. I just want to get it out there. So I just released it, and it happened to be on a great day that sparked a lot of awareness for people in that area, and I was really grateful for that. Really thankful that that happened the way that it did. And if you have a film that centers around something like that, if you could, make sure you do some research as to when would be a great day to release it. So I learned a lot as far as what goes into films, and I definitely have a new perspective on films, and I also have a new itch for more films. And what's next for me is actually just started writing my next feature, and I'm actually really excited about it. It's a pretty good idea, and I just want to continue to make films in this way. I felt like this allowed me to express myself in a way that I've been wanting to for a long time. And sometimes you just have to step out and just do it and see what happens. I really appreciate you guys and all of your support. Let me know in the comments below if there's any more questions that you have about short films and maybe the process. I actually want to do a more in-depth talk about just the process that goes into creating a short film and the process that I'm going through now to better what I did and didn't do the first time. So I would love to do a video about that. I'll probably do that next, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.